address the goon squad and what you meant by it. Is it goon squad or goof squad? I don't know. Anyway.
Look, if we keep going, someone's really gonna get hurt. Maybe dead. Besides, we gotta get to the police.
Maybe Chunk already got to the police.
Maybe Chunk is dead.
Don't say that. Never say that. Goonies never say die.
Now, I know that there have been allegations of doxing. I know there's evidence of doxing. I want to be extremely clear that I do not support doxing. I do not tell whoever Anonymous Gene is what to do, give them instructions on anything. And if I actually knew who this person was, I would tell them to stop a lot of this activity because I just don't agree with it. I can't control what somebody whose identity I don't know does. And while it appears that they believe their motives are altruistic, I just don't agree with a lot of what they do. And I've been the victim of doxing. So I understand what that's like. And I would never take part in it, and I would never condone it. And I don't care whether it's somebody who says horrible, untrue things about me or not. We don't condone doxing here. Again, I cannot be more clear that I don't condone doxing or going after people's family members.
Over the past couple weeks, Chris Hansen has made it very, very tremendously clear that he is super not into doxing. He doesn't want people's personal, private information. And in fact, he himself has a great distaste for people who spread that information around without consent. People like Anonymous Gene, someone that Hansen himself has worked with previously on the show in order to find where Onision lives, and to film the pilot for his investigation discovery show. Hansen has seemingly made it clear in his Twitter statements as well as in his live streams that he thinks doxing and the spread of personal private information without that person's consent is in fact a disgusting thing to do, and if he could, he would actively discourage all the people involved that he works with from doing it. Obviously, that doesn't quite make sense, seeing as he used someone's doc to show up at their house with an entire ass camera crew while their family was there. It also doesn't make a lot of sense since there's definitive proof that Gene and Hansen have been in contact since, but let's just take Chris at his word. Let's just, for 1 nanosecond, pretend that we are all idiots here, that we're all smooth-brained little bundles of joy fresh out of the womb, and we believe that Griff Hansen doesn't want to violate someone's personal boundaries online and doesn't want personal identifying information from people he disagrees with. Let's say that's true. If all of that is true, and we are believing that, then why in the hecking heck is his lawyer, Mike Morse, the man who specializes in getting dogs put down after they bite humans, why is he out here willing to accept the full legal name and address of unidentified members of the Goon Squad to directly forward to Chris? Why is that a thing that his lawyer is willing to accept if Chris would never work with someone like that? Mind you, just so we're clear, the email I sent to that lawyer is in no way convincing or professional. Like the fact that this Mr. Big Ass Lawman looked at the email I said and said, "Hello, yes sir, I have a dox of undefined Goon Squad member. Would you like their full legal name and address?" And that man looked at that email and said, "Yes, this seems legit. Let me agree to accept this to forward on behalf of Christopher Rodham Hansen." I don't know, man. Seems weird, Chris. And by seems weird, I mean, it seems like you're a dirty, lying little dork. And now, a dramatic reading of the email I sent to Christopher Hansen's lawyer to see if that team would accept doxes after Chris made it clear that absolutely no one on his team would. Hi, Mike. I'm a fan of your YouTube channel, and I'm big into watching what is going on with the Onision situation. I think how you and how Chris are being treated online is atrocious, especially with the videos that are being made on you from lesser creators. It's absolutely abysmal and should not be tolerated. I have been talking privately with some of the members of the, quote, Goon Squad, and I was given information that I think would benefit Chris, including one member's full name and address. I was hoping to send this to Chris, but I couldn't find an email. Let me know where I can send this information. Thank you, Cecilia. And here is the poetic, beautiful, well-written response I got from one Mr. Mike Morse, who specializes in dog bites. Hi, : feel free to send what you want, and I will forward to Chris. Sent from iPad. I can't make this shit up. Hey guys, it's Shannon, and before I get into what we are going to be talking about today, can we just revel in the fact that 2020 is the weirdest thing to ever happen of all time? To the point where I, an adult woman who got a sunburn from going outside for the first time in almost 6 months, and it's been here for 2 weeks, and being called a literal criminal by Christopher To Catch a Predator Killer Instinct mainstream media Hansen. Like, who had me getting called a criminal by a disgraced former journalist by making critical YouTube videos on him on their 2020 bingo card? Because I sure did not. Like, Lily Jean threatening to sue me for this 1000th time. Yep, I get. Heather from Rock of Love threatening to sue me and kick my ass, and then asking me to be on her podcast because she's batshit insane. Noted. Makes sense in my mind. Makes sense for my fantasy. Chris Hansen, someone who I used to watch with my parents, and someone who randomly pops up when I'm watching Crime Watch Daily videos because Those are perfect. And someone who I ultimately respected calling me a criminal? Didn't see that one coming. I really didn't. For those of you who aren't caught up with the Hansen situation, which I doubt there are any of you because videos on the subject have millions of views by now and most people understand now that Chris is a phony piece of baloney, let me break this down in the briefest of intros. Chris is a former reporter for NBC who mainly rose to prominence with a show called To Catch a Predator. The show centered around exposing men who preyed on young people online and was a smashing success due to the rise of internet predators and the fact that most everyone on this planet finds that kind of behavior disgusting. Because Chris's name was attached to this project and he was the host, he made his entire career from being on that show. The same way you say Ryan Seacrest made his entire career off American Idol and gained a massively positive reputation from that. Chris was later ousted from that show after a couple investigations went terribly wrong, and his entire career was left in shambles when the former legendary journalist was not only ousted for having an affair with a much younger co-worker, but was shown to have lied about it for a number of years, which ruined the career of the woman who he had been sleeping with. While that matter seems rather unimportant and trivial and doesn't seem like it would be career-breaking, it damaged his reputation considerably and made it borderline impossible for him to work now because he was surrounded by negative press and drama. It also didn't help because in his investigations after TCAP ended, he would hoist himself on a moral high horse in his later projects, where he would come down hard on petty criminals whose crimes included trying to turn their lives around after doing something bad previously, as well as trying to help low-income people get housing. I'm not kidding, that's something he did. Like, the man went from catching predators and discussing their disgusting acts, which everyone can agree on and say is a net positive, to trying to expose people who hardly even committed crimes and telling these people in hard financial situations that they should be ashamed of themselves for even considering to sell drugs or help other people get off the street. He was trying to roll up as if he was now the morality police on these situations that were nowhere near what he used to do, and try to talk down to people about their actions despite blacklisting his ex-lover and cheating on his wife of a number of years. You can't be on a high horse with that shit. You just can't. It doesn't work. From that point onwards, Chris's career was in a free fall. Despite him being able to be on a couple different shows over the past couple years, Chris hasn't been able to recapture the success he once had, the success and respect he so clearly craves. And because of that, he turned to the internet. He made a Kickstarter for a YouTube exclusive return of To Catch a Predator, and when that ultimately ended up with him going back to television and then getting fired once again, he started his YouTube channel, Hansen vs. Predator. Now, for those who will hear Hansen explain it, the channel was abandoned and left to rot because, again, in his own words, YouTube opted to not monetize his channel, and instead of reapplying and talking to YouTube about what he could have changed, or just trying to get some information from that, he chose to say, fuck it, I will make a new one. Now, for those of you who are non-YouTubers, you might not know that that's an incredibly stupid idea. Like, it's so stupid, it makes me smile because I just smile when I see stupidity, I guess. I have talked about this a bunch of times, but in order to get monetized, you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch time. After you get that, which takes a while, you have to apply for monetization. And after a minimum 2 months, you potentially get approved. Now, some people can expedite this process, but Chris wouldn't because he's ban evading. But that's how long it takes, on average, for non-YouTube affiliated people to get approved. So at minimum, if he was able to get 45 minutes of watch time right off the bat and a couple thousand subscribers early on, that is 2 or 3 months where you are making content for absolutely nothing. No super chats, no anything, with no guarantee that this time, because your last channel wasn't monetized, that you will earn a single cent. However, if your channel was demonetized and not chosen to be a part of the partner program, YouTube allows you to reapply for that after a month and will get back to you with the reason why you were not chosen, so you can fix your content in the meantime. Take, for example, what happened with Tipster and Augie RFC. They were both kicked out of the partner program for a month because YouTube claimed they were making harassing videos. After a month, both of those creators reapplied and were given monetization again. Neither decided they were going to abandon their growing channels and stop making content altogether and focus on making a brand new one where once again they would be starting from the ground up and have to wait to hit 45 minutes of watch time altogether, wait to hit 1,000 subscribers, and grow all over again just to wait another 2 months. You wait a month or you wait at minimum 2 to 3 months. Come on, Chris. It's not that hard. But let's be real. Chris is genuinely pretty lame when it comes to the YouTube side of things. He might be big galaxy brain Chris Hansen, full on, full out accusing commentary videos that talk about his actions and talk about the things he has done publicly of being actual criminals for doing that, and those videos are illegal, but he doesn't know how YouTube works. So maybe he just didn't know that. The man needed to get a webcam from Vincent Nicotra, so he's not exceptionally clever. So maybe we could make a case for him not realizing that him making a new channel was going to make his life exponentially more difficult than he needed to. But here's the piss, sis. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? If you're not, then that's fine. You don't really need to. Chris wasn't demonetized because of his name. Chris wasn't demonetized because YouTube shadow banned the word predator and didn't like that his name had predator in the name, obviously. That was a dumb sentence. Why did I say that? His original channel was taken down by YouTube itself because he was uploading copyrighted content that didn't actually belong to him, and copyright claiming channels that uploaded reactions or clips that also featured that content. This man was out here copyright claiming any videos that featured his image and likeness in any way, shape, or form, all while re-uploading videos from the NBC archive that featured in, which he obviously did not own. I mean, the man actually re-uploaded a clip of him that was taken from Family Guy. Family Guy. I'm not making that up. I am fairly fucking positive that Christopher Hansen does not own the rights to Family Guy or the episode he was featured in. He doesn't even own the clip. And like, you can quote me on that. I'm confident in that statement. Chris is such a big galaxy meatloaf brain that he started uploading clips of himself that he did not own, all while copyright claiming channels on YouTube, to the point where YouTube itself yeeted him off the platform for copyright abuse. They were sitting there and they were like, that's incorrect. No, sir. Absolutely not. So that means technically Christopher Weston Hansen isn't allowed on YouTube at all. He's not. He was banned from YouTube, and he is currently breaking terms of service by having his second channel and using it to make money. Like, we could really genuinely just report him for ban evading, because that is what he is doing. It's the same thing that Daddy of Five tried to do when they were kicked off YouTube originally and tried to make a new channel and say that someone else was behind it. It's scummy ass shit, and YouTube really doesn't like it when someone does that. Chris's reputation started falling when he was copyright claiming people's content. However, it went right back up when he started covering the Onision situation more thoroughly. However, as time went on, and because of Chris's own damn actions, his credibility has definitely started to be questioned and also tanked. It really first started when Chris started not vetting the guests who were coming on the show, allowing people to make absolutely ludicrous claims against Onision with no evidence, like someone saying that Onision has actually killed people. That's right, Onision has killed people. That's something that was said on Hansen's show. He is a dignified journalist. But alright. Then there was him hiring Vincent Nicotra, a man who has claimed to tamper and withhold evidence from the FBI, and very clearly was only working for PR and exposure, and knew just about as much as Chris, which is not a lot. So much happened that absolutely decimated Hansen's credibility, to the point where it was once commonplace to receive hate on a video criticizing him, now even his most staunch supporters have to agree that he's fucked up. Or, call the people who call him out for his actions that are negative, drama-hungry fame horse, which, sure, seems reasonable. I totally made up that he botched that investigation, but okay. That is one of the most basic rundowns of what's happened with Hansen, but there are so many other in-depth ones. Obviously, the one from Tone McKinley and John Swan will be linked in the description down below because those go way more in-depth. But what is going on now? What is happening currently? Well, my dude, over the past couple of weeks, a lot has actually happened. First off, the Insane Clown Posse put on a hit against Davi Vanity, and then Chris had them on his show, which is kind of wild. Did they say anything involving the investigation? No. Did it help the investigation? No. But it happened. 2020 things. But more and more people were starting to critique Chris regularly, to the point where he couldn't just pretend it wasn't happening anymore. Videos about Chris's insane antics, pointing out his blatant hypocrisy and lies, were getting millions of views, and his views and donations were quickly drying up. His income was being taken away. So the man started addressing more and more criticism regularly, and claiming that it was all coming from one source, the all-powerful Goon Squad. Now, if you haven't heard of us, the Goon Squad includes me, Rubzilla, Edwin's Generation, Bo Blacks, Nicholas D. Oreo, Some Ordinary Gamer, John Swan, Repsion, and more. Pretty much, the Goon Squad is just a term that Chris uses to try and discredit everyone who has ever had anything negative to say about him at any point ever. Any person who critiques him, Goon Squad. He's just a part of the Goon Squad. It's a term with no meaning, and it's only meant to make us look bad or silly, and it obviously does the opposite, because he's a professional journalist, and that is what you do when someone talks about you royally fucking up an FBI investigation you said you were working on. You give them a cute little nickname, which they can then use for merch. But Chris didn't only decide that we were essentially the babysitters club of commentary YouTube. He also decided to tell people that we, the entire Goon Squad, which includes Keen Mudahar, were quite literally breaking the law by talking about him. I'll say that again. He decided to tell people that we were breaking the law by talking about him. Let that sink in. You good? Because I'm not. In leaked DMs, Chris is seen literally talking about every single person who has criticized him, calling us goons, and saying that we are somehow breaking the law by reading articles and watching videos that he put online himself of things that he's done and talking about it. That's illegal. These are the DMs. Criticism is not the issue. What the goons did was dishonest, deceptive, and disingenuous, and they used questionable, if not illegal, means to do it, all to get money and clicks. Now, real quick, we're gonna do a little exercise guys, I want you to think really hard, the same way I did, even though I'm a smooth brain idiot. When you read this, what in the mother flipping fuck do you think that I or any of us have done here? What do you think that I spend my time doing? Do you think, in order to make a video on Chris Hansen, who has put all his fuck ups on YouTube for everyone to see, that I use my 2015 MacBook Air that sometimes shut down because it gets too hot and I have to literally put it in the refrigerator? Do you think that I, a person who has a job outside of YouTube, am trying to break literal laws to make these commentary videos? Do you think that's what I'm doing when I research? Do you think that me, Shannon, Creepshow Art, the person who sits down and talks about random things on the internet like how I stand JoJo Siwa and how Butch Hartman thinks you can pray autism away, do you think that I am deep web researching and hacking into FBI databases and dark web forums to do this? Literally, all that I do, all I have ever McFlippin' chicken done is talk about things I have found, either through my own research, through Google, articles I found, or other creators, or on Reddit, or other easily accepted site, and talk about it and tell you what I personally, think about that information. I quite literally just state my opinion in each and every video I make. That's all I have ever done, and give you the reasons why I think the way I do. That's it. Mind you, I want you guys to know that if I could make a video going onto the deep web and doing all that scary stuff, like if I was smart enough to do that, you know, like maybe I would do it. Maybe. But I'm not. That has never been my MO. I literally am barely capable of doing what I do now on YouTube because my setup is such ass. So Chris being out here and saying that we are committing crimes, that the goons, just a random turn of goons, not just John Swan, not just Nicholas Diorio, that all the goons are committing crimes against him, that we are using questionable, if not illegal means to do it. Like what is illegal about my process? Christopher, was it Google? Did I miss when reading articles off of Google and then giving my own opinion of those articles? Did I miss when that became a crime? Because I will repent for that sin right now if I need to. I will do a million Hail Marys. Jesus Hansen, Christopher Christ Hansen, please forgive me for my nefarious deeds. I looked at Google and read articles where you're not the peachiest keen peach in the pie. Sorry. Now, when those stamps came out and were shared by Augie RC, I thought they were funny. I thought they were silly. I was like, there is no way that this grown-ass, adult-ass man is going to stand by this. Even if he did say this, he is going to say that it's photoshopped, or he's going to be like, this statement was so absolutely ludicrous and absolutely terrible. I can't stand by this. I'm getting memed on. No sane person with a human brain capable of thought is going to think this is a good move. So I'm going to distance myself from this. That's what I thought he would think because I thought he was smarter than he is, and I need to stop thinking people are smart. Instead of doing that, he doubled down on it.
You were quoted as saying that you believe members of the Goon Squad had committed crimes against you. Look, I think that there was harassment there. I think there was harassment. I think there was a misinformation campaign. Crimes, is it criminal? Is it civil? It's criminal what they did in terms of taking a narrative that just isn't true and spinning it into something that they made look absolutely horrible. It's criminal what they did in terms of taking a narrative that just isn't true and spinning it into something that they made look absolutely horrible. It's criminal what they did in terms of taking a narrative that just isn't true and spinning it into something that they made look absolutely horrible.
Literally, this man not only confirmed he thinks commentary videos are a crime, but that the Goon Squad has all done illegal acts against him, I guess. So my videos, Chris, are illegal because they're harassment, because I've talked about things that you've done, that you admit to doing, that you have done in public, online, have had articles written about, but because I talk about it and I'm not wholly positive for you and your actions that include getting an FBI case thrown out, my videos are illegal. So our videos talking about the actions that you confirm have happened are illegal because they make you look bad, not because we're spreading false information or false news and things that you actually haven't done, but because it makes you look bad, they're illegal. Okay, so do you realize what you have been doing for years at a time, and that if you set the precedent that we can't talk about our opinions, then that means your whole work history is therefore invalidated? Do you realize that? Do you realize that you make the same exact kind of content? Do you realize that that doesn't even make a lick of sense? Like, the sense, it cannot be licked because it's not there. No, you don't realize that? You must not, because no human person would say any of that if they had the smallest bit of self-reflection or anything. Just nobody would say that, because so many people, including former guests on his shows that have worked with him for free and who are involved in the investigation for both Davi Vanity and Onision, have been coming forward with their negative experiences about working with him. And because he basically has nothing left to lose, Chris decided to do a live stream that I just showed where he answered questions from his audience and he did his best to address criticism, which, you know, his best is worse than my best. So take from that what you will. Now, eventually I am going to make a live stream going over the full stream that he made on my own, but Christopher Hansen, our Lord and Savior, literally doubled down on every negative point he could have, where he even defended someone who is known to have scammed thousands, if not millions of dollars from them and called them a really good guy. What? He also tried to defend supporting the Escobar phone by saying, oh, it was just like a cute little joke, and totally misrepresented all of the points of criticism, and it was peak bonkers. I definitely stated earlier that I'm going to be making an entire live stream where I go over everything that happened here, possibly with members of the aforementioned goon squad if I can figure out how to guess them, and I will be breaking this down piece by microscopic piece. But before I do that, I do want to talk about what Chris said, specifically about doxing, because Chris talks about how he hates it and he would never stand by it, and therefore doesn't stand by Anonymous Gene, the man who has been trying to dox the entire goon squad for months now. Chris, if that is true, how come when I reached out to your lawyer, as seen on screen, on what is very clearly a fake email, like your girl picked the most ridiculous name she could think of, why is it when I've reached out and said that I wanted to provide you with my full legal name and docs and address of one member of the goon squad, why was I told to send that information? Why was that allowed to be forwarded? If you hate people's private identities and addresses being spread online without that person's consent or knowledge, why is it that your dog bite lawyer, whose podcast you've been on twice, who you say is great, why did he want me to forward that information to him so he could send it to you? Seems a little fishy to me. Almost like you're going online and lying about what you're doing publicly and then trying to do some disgusting bullshit behind the scenes that makes you look absolutely positively terrible in the long run, because everyone who's ever worked with you is coming forward and talking about what you've done, and it just looks bad. You know, the thing a scam artist or liar would do. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Let me know what you guys think about this. So much more is coming out now. Other victims are refusing to participate in the investigation discovery show and are being forced to by Hansen and by other victims, and having to have their story be told without their permission has been incredibly traumatic for them. A lot of people are speaking out about the free work he has them do, and it's a mess. That's not even getting into the fact that his wife is now harassing victims. So probably there will be a live stream about this in the next day or so, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you still subscribe to Chris Hansen? Do you still think he's our Lord and Savior? Was this on your 2020 checklist? Let me know. And with that being said, I hope you have a genuinely good day, and I will see you in my next video. Later!